There are some big fudge ups today. A woman who stalked her Tinder date on LinkedIn before meeting. A cat who will drink only from the bathtub faucet. A mouse who survives death a couple of times. And a toddler who covers herself in crap. And it's all up next. Today I fudged up by Googling my Tinder match. This happened a few months ago but resurfaced yesterday. I matched with this guy on Tinder back in November and we started talking. We hit it off, and after a few weeks of talking, we made plans to go on a date. Before our date, I wanted to make sure this guy wasn't a serial killer or anything, so I googled his first name combined with some info about him that was on his profile. I found his LinkedIn and scrolled through it. His headshot was not one of his Tinder pictures, but I thought it was a really good picture and he looked way more attractive than I originally thought. I thought to myself, this guy is way out of my league, and got nervous, so a couple times I considered canceling our date. But whenever that happened, I went to his LinkedIn, stared at that picture, and thought, nah, I've definitely got to meet him. I ended up going on the date, and I'm super happy I did because we got along really well and have been dating exclusively ever since. Here's where the fudge up comes in. Yesterday, I was over at his house for dinner, and afterwards his little brother sent me his resume for a critique. My significant other gives me a heads up that his brother's gonna call about it, so I said it was no big deal and kept myself busy. While they're on the phone, my significant other asks his brother if he wants a critique on his LinkedIn profile too. I glance over to the computer while this is happening, and to my horror, I see the words, "Significant other's little brother viewed your profile" on his screen. That was the moment I realized he pays for LinkedIn Premium and can see everyone who views his profile. I am signed into my LinkedIn on both my phone and computer, which means every time I stalked his profile before we met, he got a notification about it. Luckily, he has never brought it up and we're still dating, lol, so I guess he didn't think much about it. But for a brief moment yesterday, I was absolutely mortified. I'm still cringing just thinking about it. Yo said that I'm actually surprised he never mentioned it. You should bring it up to him. I mean, you guys are far enough along in your relationship that could be a funny story. And it's not unheard of to look people up prior to a date, especially for women, to make sure they're not going out with a serial killer. Today I fudged up by having a cat who only drinks from a faucet. I have two cats. One is the perfect little angel baby. The other is a fluffy, needy, abusive jerk face who is the weirdest, quirkiest, most demanding cat I've ever owned. He has me well trained to attend to his every need. One of his quirks is that he basically won't drink water from a bowl. He also won't drink from any number of fancy cat fountains we have tried. He only likes the tiniest drips and trickles of water flowing freely from a tub faucet. Now, I've had this cat for 10 years, so I love him, but this is a today I fudged up a decade in the making. He loves drinking water. He constantly will walk into the living room and sit down with his cute dumb little face covered in water after drinking from the thin trickle in the tub. I'm living in Houston, a city I really love, but which is in the state of Texas where we can't get our collective deregulated stuff together. We've had electric outages for days and now we are under a boil water notice. My special little butthole kept going into the bathroom and knocking things down because he was trying to get me to go in there and turn the water on. He doesn't understand that the water might kill him right now, he only knows that he's thirsty. And when this cat wants something, he gets it. There's no point in deterring him. Any normal deterrents that work on other cats, covering surfaces in tinfoil, bitter sprays, spray bottles, tape, do not deter him. Ignoring him doesn't work because he'll escalate to knocking over bigger and bigger objects until you come see him. Then he purrs and winds around your legs like the little spoiled prince that he is. So, the Dark Lord was thirsty and I couldn't put his water on and he kept knocking down my lotion. I finally took a water bottle over the tub and poured a trickle out for him to drink. Then I moved one of the big spout spraying water containers to the tub, opened the spout to a trickle, and then sat by my dumb fluffy a-hole until he was done drinking because I have no idea when we will get our water back. Yo said that cat said my way or the highway. It's great that you found a way to please the cat, but that cat has got you hostage. The things we do for our evil, lovely pets. Today I fudged up by catching a mouse twice, upset my cat and girlfriend, and the mouse is still running around my house. I live out in the country and it's been ridiculously cold here the last few days. So the local rodents are doing their best to get in and find someplace warm to stay. I ended up with a mouse running around the house, which is annoying as we've got 3 lazy, freeloading cats whose only job, besides being cute, is to keep mice out of the house. They have, thus far, failed dismally. We set out some no-kill mouse traps a few days ago, and overnight, last night, we catched a little bugger. My 11-year-old daughter immediately falls in love with it and offers to release it on the other end of the property after she does her chores. She sets the mouse trap down on the counter and we both split off to do our own jobs. Somehow, the mouse gets out of the trap, not sure how, but we get back after about 30 minutes and the trap is empty. Later in the day, one of the cats is spending an unusual amount of time in the bathroom, sniffing around the base of one of the cabinets. Because the cat, his name is Boots, is a lazy, good-for-nothing house cat with a long and storied history of being kinda dumb, I just assume he's seen a Greeble and proceed to pay no attention to him. After a frankly embarrassing amount of time, I finally realize I'm as thick as week old pudding and connect the cat acting odd and the missing mouse. I go in the bathroom and tilt the cabinet forwards. Boots, who I should add has never seen a mouse in his life, instantly dives behind it. A short tussle ensues and about 3 seconds pass before he comes strolling out from behind the cabinet with the mouse clamped in his jaws. The 11-year-old who is still in love with this mouse darts into action and pries the wriggling mouse away from the cat. The mouse was fine, no injuries, no blood. As far as I could tell, it was in perfect health. She carries it across the house to the front door, right past my bemused girlfriend, and I take the mouse by its tail while my daughter puts her shoes on. As I regale my girlfriend with the deeds of Mr. Boots, here he comes strutting across the house, and it was unmistakably a strut. The first thing that I think of is, this would make a great picture. I, in my infinite wisdom, proceed to tell my girlfriend to get her camera open while I reach down to pick up Boots. It's the perfect moment to commemorate the lazy, good-for-nothing cat who spends his days eating, sleeping, and thinking up new and interesting places in the house to hide his poop, has actually done something productive and downright impressive. I prepare to pose for the picture with the mouse dangling by its tail in one hand and cat tucked in my other arm. I smile, my girlfriend raises the camera, and in that moment, it all falls apart. The cat spots the mouse dangling not a foot from its face. The world comes to a grinding halt. The stage is set for a storm of perfect circumstance. It was in this moment that I realized I'd fudged up and outplayed myself. In slow motion, I watch Boots freeze. His eyes dilate straight to hunter mode. I see the wheels turning in his head. His paw pulls back. With every modicum of strength his little body possesses, he reaches out and smacks the dangling, wriggling mouse. It yanks free of my fingers and arcs directly at my girlfriend's face. The mouse crosses the distance in the time it took my girlfriend's face to contort in fear. It hit her squarely on the chin, and before she had time to do anything but gasp, the mouse performed an impressive feat of parkour, launching itself in the air and across the kitchen counter. I watched it disappear on the other side of the counter, and before I had time to run around it, the mouse had vanished as completely as if he never existed. So here I am, outsmarted by a mouse, twice in one day. My daughter thinks the whole situation is hilarious. I agree with her. Boots is pissed at me because I let his dinner get taken away from him. I see his point. My girlfriend is furious that I threw a mouse at her, and she says it's all my fault that it escaped. She's not wrong, although I'm apparently a butthole for blaming the cat. And I still have a mouse in the house. That was a really funny story. But if you have one mouse in the house, you most likely have even more. And if you don't get them quick, they're gonna multiply, and then you have like 11. Do whatever you can to catch that mouse. You don't want to be the center of an empire of mice. Today I fudged up by assuming my toddler was talking gibberish. This morning as I was getting ready, I heard my daughter talking to herself in the cot. She's at that age where she has a surprisingly large vocabulary but still talks nonsense most of the time. On this occasion, I can mostly hear unintelligible, but cute, sounds with the occasional yeah or mama thrown in. So far, a pretty typical morning. Then I heard her say, "Oh no," before descending back into gibberish. It was cute and in no way a sound of genuine distress. I laughed, so did my wife. Fast forward to 5 minutes later and we go into her room to get her ready for the day. She stood up in the cot and half undressed, as her latest game seems to be trying to take her pajamas off in the morning. Then I heard my wife say, "Oh no," and she definitely sounded distressed. For the first time, our toddler's undressing ritual included successfully taking off her nappy. And on the mattress was a large and brown object that definitely wasn't there when she went to bed. I instinctively went to pick her up, and as I did, she extended her hand towards me, revealing it was smeared in a similarly brown substance. Again, she said, "Oh no," and I finally realized what she had been trying to tell us. Cue panic. I took the poo-stained baby while my wife, hero that she is, dealt with the bed sheets and the offending item itself, as well as any other surface recently painted brown. Baby wipes alone were not going to fix this, so suddenly we're running a bowl of soapy water to dunk the little one in, while I did my best to make a game of it in the hope she would let me get it all off before she smeared it anywhere else. She's a very affectionate toddler, so I was trying desperately to keep the brown hand away from my face. Meanwhile, my wife runs past with an obscene amount of toilet roll and a worried expression. I managed to escape largely unscathed, although I'm a bit concerned the little one enjoyed the commotion a little too much, and may be tempted to reenact it tomorrow. Either way, the next time I hear her say, "Oh no," I'm not dismissing it as childish nonsense. Oh no, you're gonna get PTSD every time you hear those words now. Look on the bright side, at least you guys caught it early, before she was able to cause more damage. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button, comment on who you thought had the biggest fudge up, and subscribe. You'll have a hairline the gods will be jealous of. So just do it. You like having good hair, right?